I believe it's extremely important and prudent that every individual has their own life philosophy that they hold dear. Something that can shape the way they act in society and treat one another. Why do I mention this again? Why is this even brought up in a video talking about anime controversies? You're probably wondering, am I completely insane? Obviously, but also a popular life philosophy that I've adorned is if you have two options, either laugh or cry, it's better to laugh. And when you see some massive toxic controversy blob sprout up out of the assholes that seem to grow on social media like a fungus, it makes you just think, bruh. The only two options here are to laugh at the toxicity or cry when you see it. And as a massive supporter of the Laughing at Toxicity Foundation, which I am the founder, host, and major PR man, I managed to delve and look into the various ass cracks of society that I am about to tell you all about today. This is the ultimate every anime controversy ever video. Not that it will cover every anime controversy ever. I mean, yes, it will definitely talk about some popular ones, big ones, huge ones, and a few even small ones that you may not have even heard of as slight examples. But honestly, this video is made to drive home a massive point, a point that will probably trigger the hate boners of Twitter warriors across the land as they viciously type on their keyboard that I deserve to be eradicated from society due to my horrible takes and the fact that I may have perhaps thought about using the R word. Me, the R word? Oh, never. Bruh, those retards. To actually think I would go ahead and say something like that. Disgusting. But you're gonna learn something from this video, whether you hate me or not. Because as a man that spent way too much research and too much time laughing at toxicity, I have a very good understanding of how it spouts, how it's spread, and you're gonna get the full goddamn load blasted right onto your face. Now, you see, before laughing at toxicity, I believe it's very important to understand toxicity, to see where it comes from, why it spreads. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, that is so deep and philosophical of you. You want to see all about it to understand it, just in case you might laugh at something that doesn't warrant laughter and instead should be supported. No, not at all. No, I say this because if you understand it better, there are more moving parts to it that you can laugh at when you laugh at it, which is why a sequel to this video, which you should definitely subscribe for, because at 2 million subscribers, I'm summoning Satan. It's gonna be wonderful. That's the subscriber special that we all need. But also because sequel to this video, the ultimate anime controversy tier list where I rate them based on how dumb they are. That will be the laughing at toxicity aspect. This video is gonna be focusing more on the why. It's gonna be focusing on why these controversies thrive, why they keep popping up, and many different sides to them, and I will be talking about it in a broad stroke. This is not something that I think exists on the platform, but it's something that I want to exist on the platform. Because the more people that understand this, the more people that could join the cause of laughing at it, which makes this world a better place. You see, I am in fact wholesome. I am a toxic asshole for the good of society, not for its detriment, and that is the line we are drawing here between toxic assholes, and I like it. Anywho, being that these are the types of videos that get me a lot of haters, and you love to see it, I think that you know you made it once you get enough haters, and thank God I got enough haters to make me completely confident that I am doing something right. I am actually writing a song. In fact, it is even ready at the time of recording this video, and it will be uploaded within a week. So I will actually be uploading my first music video, and I am so excited to show it to you guys. Bruh, it's gonna be fire. It's so good. Jake Paul and KSI are gonna poop their diapers when they see this. But alas, controversy. I don't like videos that spell out the major point they're trying to make right in the beginning and then try and tie back all the loose ends into that point, because sometimes to me it feels like there's an agenda and they're trying to force feed things into the agenda. Instead, I will do to you what I did to myself when I also went on this journey. There are 9 major controversial topics that I would like to briefly cover, and then you will see from my inquisitive exploration abilities exactly the conclusion I came to. In fact, the goal here is for you to come to the same exact conclusion as I did before I even spell it out for you. That's the little game we're going to play. The order I've selected in which I cover these topics is loosely based on the time period that the controversy began. I am not going to be completely going in chronological order because points can be better made through other fashions, and the links between these different topics will be self-explanatory to a massive degree. And you may think I'm going to say, well, back in the year of 1926. Nah, fam, we don't need to go back so far for me to cover every single topic I want to. 2018, Goblin Slayer. Slayer. Now, this isn't even due to the lack of research on my part. On the contrary, I know of many controversies that happened long before 2018. The reason why I'm starting so recently is because with the uptake of social media and the mainstream appeal that anime started to have, these controversies blossomed forth like nothing before. Big controversies in the anime community before this were things like, bruh, Oreimo had an incest story at the end. Dude, that was so sad. But even then, it was all taken mostly with memes and very little with, sending death threats to the creators, trying to cancel the series, hating on people that actually were fans of the series, and causing all in all chaos in the community. Being that it was such a much smaller, more niche thing, the controversy was more based in memes than genuine temper tantrums. And therefore, I would consider a controversy like that not toxic. The reason why I wanted to start with Goblin Slayer is because, like several other anime that also got flack for this very same reason, Goblin Slayer had a lot of sexual assault. Like, a lot. A solid 5 minutes of the first episode were extremely graphic scenes where goblins stripped and raped women. It was brutal, to say the least. It was rated R. It was definitely considered something mature that was going to be covering very mature things, but still, something like this was extraordinarily shocking, to say the least, and the community kind of had a pretty divisive split at that point. As far as Western media goes, this is kinda not okay. You don't see this almost anywhere, and even the most graphic of TV shows, even when a horrible act like this occurs, it's usually done off screen where it's implied, even in extremely explicit gore fests. So something like this was understandably triggering to some, and it was definitely something that should very clearly be delineated for mature audiences only, and it was. The outcry and outbursts from the Twitter warriors at this given point in time was, how do I find the right words for this without insulting anyone? Pathetic. That's right. You heard. I just told you all these terrible things that the anime did that Western things don't do. Why am I saying that it's pathetic to bitch about this kind of thing? And the answer, I think, is relatively simple. Everything is treated in different levels of severity in different places of the world. That's pretty straightforward stuff. I'm not here to take crimes and rate it a certain amount of bad guy points when it's actually committed. That's not exactly what I'm trying to do here. But as far as crimes go, rape and murder are pretty up there as far as really bad things that hopefully can stop because they both suck extremely much. Yet we have murder in Western TV shows all the time. We have it in the most graphic ways imaginable. As a simple example of this, there's a TV show that I very much like. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called The Boys. It's great, and I'll probably make a video on it at some point because these people are the Chads of Chads, and I like my Chads. This scene has some of the most gory death scenes around. I mean, you got people melting each other's faces, ripping each other's faces off, shoving things in other people's faces. You have a dude who gets a stick of C4 stuffed up his asshole and blows the crap out of him from the inside out, literally blowing the crap out of him, which I think was a fantastic twist on the metaphor of blowing the crap out of somebody, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of really tragic death scenes. Now, there are also sexual assault scenes, but all those are off-screen or implied. You see what I'm trying to say here? In the West, this is something that people walk on eggshells about. This was the societal norm to treat differently. Now, I'm not getting into the psychology behind the two cultures and as to why different things are accepted in different places. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to recognize that they are treated differently in different places of the world. And it's due to this reason alone that I think people bitching about Goblin Slayer, saying it needs to be canceled and the writer needs to be castrated because that was a thing, those people are the toxic assholes that we need to laugh at, and we will laugh at on the tier list part of this video, but that's not what we're doing here. Context matters a lot, and the context is that this is an anime made in Japan. Why should it succumb to the Western norms of what should and shouldn't be shown on TV? It's not like this was like a rated G movie. This movie is for everyone. It has the animation of Up, and then this happens. It's not like it pulled a fast one on you. Right before any sexual assault happened in Goblin Slayer, you had people brutally murdered before your very eyes. You knew that this wasn't gonna be Teletubbies. But that said, it came as a shock to everyone in the West who watched this show, because in the West, society deems something like this inappropriate for television due to bringing up very bad pasts in many people, and I feel for the people that went through this and went through something like this and now need to watch it on a screen. I imagine that is something horrible, but to hold Japan accountable for a Western norm is extremely toxic. And now we move on to another controversy that I wanted to talk about under the same vein, and this one is Rising of a Shield Hero. You probably think I'm gonna mention the slavery aspect because there was this whole master slave kind of thing going on, but honestly, no. There was a controversy going on there only because of a previous controversy that happened. Now, these weird master-slave contract thingies, this has been happening in anime for years, mostly in some sort of fetishistic way, but it doesn't really matter. This wouldn't have woken the dragon, as it were. What did wake the dragon was in the first episode, where the main character got completely played by a woman who stole everything he had and then claimed that he sexually assaulted her, and she was lying. The main character was then excommunicated and treated like trash when he genuinely did nothing wrong, because everyone believed the woman, and this man's life was over. Now, that is the story that happened in Shield Hero. In the case of Shield Hero, the protagonist was in fact innocent. This is a fact because us godly observers have seen the truth and know the truth. That said, in real life, it's not always that easy. The truth is extremely unclear, and it's because of that we get into an extremely annoying controversy when it comes to Rising of a Shield Hero. Rape allegations are an extremely serious matter, and they are something that should never be laughed at or brushed away. The vast majority of them are proven to be true in time, and therefore, a victim that comes forward should be treated with sympathy and respect, and that is an agenda that was very much pushed in the West, and very understandably so. That said, even though, let's say, 99% of the time, there are no lies, and the allegations are valid, there is that 1% of the time, and that 1% happens where those allegations are false. Now, again, I've mentioned before, and I'll mention again, this isn't a political channel in any way, and I'm not taking any side, I'm not promoting any political agenda, I am just talking about the social norms in the West, especially on social media, versus the social norms in Japan where Shield Hero was made. Being that the Me Too movement is so powerful, and the idea of listening to survivors and victims is so important in today's society, an anime where there is a false claim goes against this very agenda that is only growing in importance and severity. Understandably so, the Twitter mongrels took up arms. Go Twitter, you absolute knight of justice, you. Everyone on your site deserves a freaking medal of valiantness for just being on the battlefield all ironclad like they are. But as I've mentioned in the Goblin Slayer segment, these things are treated very differently in Japan. Again, not going into the specifics on why they would be treated differently, but the fact of the matter is that they are. So while it's not following the mainstream agenda of today that 2020 is trying to push forward and let be heard, and it belittles the believability of victims, of course, Twitter decided to wage war. But once again, it wasn't their war to wage. The next topic that I would like to cover is Demon Slayer. When Demon Slayer was coming out, everyone was totally stoked about it until episode 19 hit. It trended on Twitter. It was extremely hyped. Big time celebrity people were talking about how it's the best thing ever made. And once it hits that level of mainstream, all of a sudden, controversy is everywhere. Wait a second, Tanjiro's earrings are in fact Nazi war symbols. Demon Slayer is racist, confirmed. Off with their heads. And then you got everyone like, oh bro, I fixed Tanjiro's earrings. Look, now it's not racist anymore. Bro. Just because it can be misconstrued by the masses as something like this, it doesn't mean it was intended to be that way. And this is a new concept, and new is obviously a relative term, but this idea of clout chasing just by trying to stir up a controversy is so common. Anytime anyone can have a shred of anything against anything else, bro, they will be happy to spill everything they got. Guts and gore will flow onto the battlefield from this carcass that was Demon Slayer. And my proof that something like this wouldn't necessarily happen in the past, but now that there's this weird Twitter warrior clout system going on, well, the proof's in the pudding. You know what never got a controversy in the same vein as this? Bleach. Bleach is a relatively older anime. I think it started in like 2004. It was pretty popular. It had extreme mainstream appeal as far as anime went in those days. Maybe not as broad as the appeal of anime today, but Bleach was undoubtedly one of the most mainstream anime of all time. If you look at the hilt of Ichigo's Bankai sword, yeah, it's a swastika. If you look at Ichigo's Fullbringer ability after he loses his sword, yeah, that's a swastika. for those of you that are uncultured and never heard of a swastika, I think there was this one dude, I forget his name, very forgettable lad. Oh, what was his name again? Oh yeah, Hitler. Probably the worst person that ever lived on the face of the planet. The person that caused the most genocide of all time in history of humanity. Yeah, that guy. He's forgotten in the history books. I don't know why people haven't heard of the dude. That was his symbol. But Bleach never got into this controversy because we are living in a different time. I know it's less than a decade away from when Bleach ended, but in this small decade, the rise of social media and this concept of Twitter warrior, virtue signaling, clout chasing has grown so much, Tanjiro's earrings are more of a racist symbol than a goddamn Nazi flag. If you don't see the hypocrisy there, then you're either blind or just deluding yourself really hard. But now that we're talking about the evolution of society and an extremely woke nature that is enveloped the planet, not that every concept in the word woke is bad. There are many good things that the word woke promoted. I think it's rude to say the word retarded in a derogatory fashion, and I very much don't say it unless I'm trying to prove a point. That can only be proven that well with that word. But that said, let's talk about a big wokeism that happened lately, and that is the word trap. A trap was an anime term that existed forever, for decades literally. A trap always referred to a cross-dressing dude. You had a dude, he looked kind of girlish, he wore kind of girlish clothes, people thought he was kind of girlish. Then it turns out, blam, he has a penis, he is in fact a man that identifies as a man. People decided to consider trap as a trans slur. I think that this is a load of bollocks entirely. If you really want to try and come at the word trap with everything that you got, you know, freaking nuke that term from existence, at least call it homophobic. I'm giving them ideas now. That's right, start a new controversy so that I can hop in on it and be like, bro, I started this controversy for the memes. And then society crumbles and it was all my fault. That's the crazy dystopian future that we're looking at here. Definitely subscribe to keep updated. But if you want to really think about it, perhaps trap is homophobic. Like, oh, it's all chill because this person's a girl. And then it's like, bro, turns out person's a dude. Ew, disgusting, nasty. If you want to say it's homophobic, whatever, sure thing. But no one says that. The major complaint is that it's transphobic. And the big logical fallacy here is that a trap is not derogatory in the slightest. Like, traps are some of the most beloved anime characters. Trap is a term of endearment very often. Felix from ReZero and Astolfo from Fate Apocrypha are literally the most popular characters in their respective franchises. Trap characters have been loved for a long time because of the absolute hilarious memes that spawn from them. So not only is the word trap not a derogatory term, but it also doesn't refer in the slightest to trans people. A trap is a male that identifies as a male, that's masculine, that has a penis and wants to keep it. There is absolutely nothing female about this person or this person's identification whatsoever. So the fact that people are harping on the word trap to be a trans slur is not only wrong in their complaint, laughable due to the lack of logic and incoherency, but also bafflingly stupid because, again, you are making an issue exist in the place of where there was none. This term was not hurting or insulting anyone, and you developed this wound just so you could say, bruh, look at this wound. And it's not just wokeism that started controversies in the anime community. No, it was anti-wokeism too. Do you remember High Guardian Spice? Crunchyroll, you may have heard of it. It's an anime streaming service that never gets into controversies ever. Yeah, these guys wanted to launch their own anime that they were gonna make called High Guardian Spice. It's the ultimate woke anime series. An anime of anime. All other anime will tremble at their knees, bruh. The absolute wokeness of our new king, High Guardian Spice, will be legendary with a cast of mostly females, with characters that are mostly of minority groups, and all the writers are female. Bruh, racism has been solved. Also, story looked like crap. Character design was stupid. Animation was kind of weak. Production never really existed. I think there was no black people on the production staff. It was all like white women, so that kind of laughed in the face of diversity as well. Bruh, the thing was an absolute disaster. And the anime community very much called Crunchyroll out for it, and you don't really hear much about High Guardian Spice today. It went to woke to the extreme that the anti-wokeism movement had to start. Bro, you are not curing anything just because most anime producers in Japan are male to say, bruh, here the writers are all female. Take that, bitches. Bruh, you're not proving anything. The goal is to get a good product. Whoever's best for the job should do it. If a woman's best for the job, then the woman should do it. As an example, men, on average, have 40% more upper body strength than women. That's not racist, that's not sexist, that is a fact. So, if there's a building burning down, and you get firefighters to save the people that are living in that building, and let's say there's a certain cutoff, a strength requirement, if you will, for the firefighters, do you think it makes sense to say, well, yes, you see, since this firefighter is in fact a woman, they only require to pass 60% of the strength requirement? Bruh, this is about pulling people out of a burning building. It's about who could do the job best. Women are better at multitasking than men. Men have more upper body strength than women. People have different strengths. So by trying to throw and push this woke agenda down the throats of the public that are watching anime for good stories, not because of anyone in the writer's room, the anti-woke movement pushed back really hard, and it was hilarious to see it get shut down so quick. But speaking of wokeism, bruh, we aren't even starting to talk about the severe wokeitis that the anime community has been experiencing. Because let's talk about another popular anime, My Hero Academia. This is an anime that got into the mainstream too. Body shaming. As an example, in the manga, the characters are drawn thicker than in the anime adaptation. Bruh, the anime is body shaming. Bro, why couldn't we have had thicker women? Why did the women have to be thinner? This is clearly trying to push an agenda that fat people suck. And fat people do in fact not suck. So, bro, this is probably the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I will now rip my hair out and throw them into a fire to appease my suffering. That wasn't the only body shaming that went on in My Hero. There was also the idea of Horikoshi drawing the My Hero characters in sexual poses, and it was like, bruh, why are their clothing so revealing? Why is it a coincidence that every female character in My Hero Academia's quirk has something to do with them losing clothes? Invisible Girl takes her clothes off. Frog Girl does orgasm faces every time she throws up. Main character girl takes off her vest in every single fight so she can use it to float. Momo, her ability is to create things out of her body, so she has to show as much skin as possible to be able to summon these objects from her body. And you got Mina Ashido, a woman that is covered in lube at all times. Kind of ironic that that's the whole female cast in the main class 1A of My Hero Academia. A lot of hate was sent towards Horikoshi for this kind of stuff. And well, at least some of the female characters were somewhat useful. I mean, not a lot, let's be honest. But if you look at shonen as it goes, old school shonen women did nothing. Bro, look at Naruto. Every shonen woman in Naruto's only purpose was to get clobbered. If you look at One Piece too, it's been like that since the very beginning. What about Bleach? Oh yeah, same thing. Oh no, Dragon Ball's gonna be the one that's different. Oh yeah, Dragon Ball, yeah, totally Dragon Ball, that's the one. As far as it goes, shonen women have become increasingly more useful as time goes on. Fairy Tail had extremely useful women. Black Clover had extremely useful women. And My Hero Academia didn't have as useful as those two, but you know, they tried sort of. But the body shaming concept is a very Western ideal. This does not exist in Japan pretty much at all. Looking at things scientifically, it is healthier to be fit than to be overweight. This is science, like kind of undisputable fact at this point. It's like saying that more anime characters should smoke because you're smoking shaming. It's unhealthy to be overweight. And while it is absolutely a condition that some people have, and very often it's genetic and it's sad and difficult, it's not healthy. So the idea of body shaming that exists in the West, which is a very not judgmental society, trying to say that no one should be judged for anything about them, it does not exist in Japan, as it's still treated as something unhealthy and therefore something that should be looked down upon. The idea of body shaming for things like weight that exists in the West to try and make people feel more comfortable in their own skin is not an ideology that exists in the East. So complaining about something like this, again, is barking up the wrong tree. It's humiliating to live in the same world and stratosphere as people that do not understand this. It's like something that was socially accepted a dozen years ago was done, and now it's not considered okay. You can't fault them for that thing that was done in the past that was socially accepted. Bro, it's okay for them from their perspective at that time. And I've mentioned the word retarded before. Did you know that the term idiot, moron, yeah, all those are medical terms for, well, retards. So the idiot is used extremely often. I believe everyone watching watching this video has used the word "you idiot" in a derogatory term. I mean, the word "baka" in anime is freaking everywhere. Can you imagine in 10 years the word "idiot" now becomes a slur for, well, scientifically diagnosed idiots? Are we now going to cancel everyone that used this word in the past? Well, we probably will, but that's not okay. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point is, you can't fault someone based on what your culture tells you is right and wrong if their culture at that time period does not follow suit. So the whole body shaming wokeism in My Hero Academia is hilarious. And now we get into the big three. Man, is Attack on Titan a good show. Man, am I happy Attack on Titan is coming back at the end of this year. Bro, are the anime onlys going to flip out when they see this arc. Attack on Titan literally just got better. Now, this isn't a video where I just sit and gush about Attack on Titan. But that said, it's my video and I can do whatever the hell I want. I have all the power. Okay, that was enough gushing about Attack on Titan. I just wanted to abuse my power a little bit. You know how it is, abusing power is kind of a thing lately. It's almost like that's what I was talking about the whole video. People are called Attack on Titan fascist. This is Jose. The fascism controversy around Attack on Titan is based on manga events. So you'll begin to learn about why people called Attack on Titan a fascist story in the next season of the anime. So that's exciting. And I won't be spoiling anything because, bro, am I gonna put a spoiler video in a video about laughing at toxicity? Bro, then I'll be the toxic one. But what if I was the toxic one all along though? Cue Illuminati music. Anyway, you're gonna have to take my word on it that people called Attack on Titan fascist. Now here is my argument. Here is the lovely Nuxitarian opinion. The most toxic fandom of all time is, drumroll please, politics. Yes, this must come as a big surprise to you. Bro, I thought you were gonna say Sonic. Now, bro, I'd rather watch Sonic hump Mario in those weird Sonic fanfics than watch political debates between two people that have no interest in hearing the other side's arguments whatsoever. Politics is the most toxic fandom of all time. And as a man that does not take political sides or have any political opinions mentioned on this channel, because this channel is all about memes and laughing at toxicity, you know, the real important things in this world, not like this politics bullcrap. Nah, bro, it's all about memes. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I want Trump versus Biden Yu-Gi-Oh! Shadow game to decide on who becomes the next president of the United States. And I will stand by that until the day I die. But politics is a very touchy subject. It's become so touchy of a subject that anyone that's even slightly right-leaning is called a Nazi, and anyone that's even slightly left-leaning is also called a Nazi. Bruh, we live in the best timeline. There's like bloodshed in the streets because people say things that they don't know what they're talking about, making it show that they have some sort of political leaning that makes them disagree with their neighbor, and their neighbor's like, bruh, but I have a shotgun. Bro, this is so sad. This is so sad. But with that said and done, all of a sudden, any political agenda that is not your own is all of a sudden being a Nazi. So, being that that is the case, there is a very deep geopolitical story in Attack on Titan's next anime arc. And it's great. And it's the best part of Attack on Titan, in my personal opinion. One of the major themes in Attack on Titan is showing that humanity is humanity's worst enemy. That humanity is evil. And it's a very deep and powerful thing shown through the actions of so many people trying to gain power using different methods, each one thinking that they are justice, but each one just taking you further down the rabbit hole of doom, also known as politics. But being that this toxic political environment exists, of calling thy neighbor a Nazi, whether they think healthcare should be free or if they own a gun, it creates a massive animosity that is easily thrown around when it comes to things we are watching and things we are reading. And again, this is a much more recent problem. If you look at characters in the past, you can very clearly try and paint Code Geass as a fascist story, the same way that it was done for Attack on Titan. It's not even the main protagonists, for the most part, in Attack on Titan who support this ideology. It just kind of exists. But since politics in the West have become such a volatile subject and taken on such a personal level, it has just become this toxic gas cloud that lingers over anything that even comes close to what we were talking about. The next controversy that I wanted to talk about is Uzaki-chan. Yay, Uzaki-chan! You all knew I was gonna bring her up. She was a thing that happened recently, I guess. Apparently everyone on the planet's a pedophile now. That's good news if I ever heard any. The basic background for this one is she looks looks young and she has big badonkers. Pedophile confirmed if you're attracted to her. Even though she's in sexual predicaments the entire show, and even though she is clearly a character that's stated in the first episode to be 19 years old. That's even the legal age in America. That's crazy. Yeah, this was a big controversy, mostly because of COVID and everyone was stuck at home with nothing to do, so they had no choice but to bitch and whine about things that they had no control over. You'll love to see it. And I want to make an entire different documentary. Like, this was the documentary on anime controversies, and I will tell you my conclusion very soon, because we only have one more topic to cover before I get to it. But I want to make a whole different documentary on lollies in anime. Not defending it at all, per se, but talking about it, its existence, both sides, everything. You know how I like to do it. Take every side into account, and then formulate your own decision, and then incarcerate people that are probably pedophiles. But the Uzaki-chan one's just stupid. Cosplayers all over the place that are the exact same size measurements in height and, well, other measurements of Uzaki-chan cosplayed Uzaki-chan just to be like, bruh, we exist. And they became the things they swore to destroy. These people that are so SJW that they go ahead and try and throw Uzaki-chan under the bus end up body shaming. Literally, the whole controversy is a bunch of woke people body shaming. How ironic and hypocritical is that? And this is why we laugh at toxicity here and why Uzaki-chan will score high on the tier list that is to come. Definitely subscribe. But again, the lolly thing is very accepted in Japan for some reason, and I will be talking about that in a future video, so I don't want to dwell too much on that kind of thing right here. But this one was totally off base. That said, Uzaki-chan's a pretty mediocre anime, so the people that ended up watching it, it's only because of the people that started the controversy. So thank you for getting Uzaki-chan any shred of popularity, because it was kind of mediocre at best. The last controversy I wanted to briefly mention, yes, this will be a quick one, it's interspecies reviewers. For those of you that are unfamiliar, it is a very, very funny anime. Probably the best anime of all time, which is why it was the highest rated anime on my anime list at a point. Man, that was the story. But the controversy I wanted to talk about was the fact that it was taken off of Funimation for not following Funimation's guidelines. Now, everyone was quick to point fingers as to reasons why it was removed, but the truth of the matter is, it was never given a clear answer. It could have been a licensing decision. It could have been Funimation not realizing how lewd it actually was, which would be ironic based on some of the other things that Funimation happily licensed. You know, at least everything in interspecies reviewers was legal, unlike all the weird incest rape stuff that happens in every corner of Funimation's archive. I mean, Arrow Manga Sensei is literally incest, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and pedophilia, but it happily waves the flag of Funimation. But the irony is no one knows why it was removed. No answers were given, and the answer that it didn't fall into their guidelines made so little sense based on their archive that there was so much mistrust. It was a controversy based on nothing. No hard evidence and a billion conclusions. But again, that was a very Western controversy, being that it was based on Funimation, a Western platform, and very much did not affect Japan at all. Now that I've mentioned all the controversies that I wanted to bring up for this video, and there will be a lot more on the actual tier list, bruh. Bakugo's death? Dude, that's an S tier controversy right there. No, that wasn't a spoiler. He didn't actually die. It's a meme that I made up that the internet bought and it was hilarious. But the point is, do you see why I went about doing this video this way? Do you see why I don't like the idea of laying out a conclusion and then following a narrative to come to that same conclusion? What's the conclusion that you came to? What is the conclusion to the source of the toxicity of the constant anime controversies? Because all of these that I've mentioned happened within the span of the last 2 years. The reason why I didn't mention things like Vic Mignogna is because it's not necessarily an anime controversy. It was a massive controversy among the anime sphere about a dubbed voice actor that allegedly sexually assaulted people, because the same thing happens to other mainstream people. I believe Johnny Depp ran into the same exact controversy, even though it's not in the anime sphere, which is why I wouldn't necessarily consider this an anime controversy. I would just consider this a public figure controversy. But as far as the anime ones, what exactly was mentioned? What is the conclusion we could draw? What are the lines that we can use to connect these dots? So if you're looking at this objectively, like I like to think that I am, even though I'm probably not, I'm just objectively, subjectively thinking that I'm objective about this subjective opinion, it's that all of these things are hell-bent on focusing on a mass social norm that is accepted in one part of the world, but not accepted in another one. And based on the accepted societal rule book, one society that follows these rules will go ham and attack and slander and threaten to kill people in another society that does not follow the same rules. It's like people playing Magic the Gathering accusing people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For starting with 2,000 life points instead of 20 health. You're playing by different rules. You are not the center of the universe. Suck it up, you pathetic, cloud-chasing beta swine that can't get attention in real life, so they have to make believe they're important by bitching about something that absolutely does not matter at all. Oh, was I too strong there? Well, I like to think that I wasn't, and it's only because I'm recording this super late that I didn't put more effort into my voice. These controversies all stem from the same thing. The fact that the sexual assault in Goblin Slayer is treated much more of a taboo in the West than in Japan. The false allegations in Shield Hero are going against a highly sought after agenda in the West, but not Japan. The racism in Demon Slayer perhaps can be considered something like that in the West, but really isn't in Japan. The wokeisms of traps, aside from being completely off base, isn't something accepted into Japanese society right now. The anti-wokeism of High Guardian Spice was trying to solve a problem in the anime system that did not exist based on the rules in where the anime system actually is. The body shaming in MHA tackles a problem that only Westerners acknowledge as a problem altogether. The fascism in Attack on Titan only exists in the perverted political headcanon of the toxic political Western bubble. The pedophilia in Uzaki-chan is not only off-base and not only purely a societal difference because that lolly craze, bro, I don't know what's going on there. Well, I sort of do know, but I'll talk about it in a future video. For whatever reason, that's not considered weird there, and it's really considered weird here. Not that Uzaki-chan even had that at all, but I mean, okay, whatever. That's a funny one. The interspecies reviewers controversy only existed in the West altogether. What I'm trying to say is everyone is different. People come from different places. People have different ideals, different morals, and different beliefs based on how they were raised, where they live, and so many other moving parts that you shouldn't think you have the audacity to understand. You are not the center of the universe, and therefore, not everything needs to follow your rules. And being that I've now identified, proven, and come to the conclusion as to the source of all of this toxicity, and I believe it's a conclusion that you were all able to come to as well through the explanation and all the various explanatory stages of this video, the next step after addressing, understanding thoroughly every facet of these controversies is to laugh at them. Because again, the only other option is cry. You're gonna cry at the toxic state of the world, or you're gonna laugh at it. Personally, I definitely would select the latter, and I will. Toxic controversy tier list coming soon. We will do this tier list purely based on stupidity. So that means the stupider the controversy, the higher it goes on the tier list. And I'm excited about it. I will probably create the tier list beforehand and stream myself doing the tier list live on Twitch. Link in the description of my Twitch. Feel free to follow me there to witness the creation of it. Definitely subscribe for more. And again, I am making a pretty epic music video. People will not love, but I do. And I think it's so sick. It's so good. I'm so proud of it. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. I'm sorry after this 35-40 minute bomb of a video, you're gonna get like, you know, a 3-minute music video, but I do hope you'll listen to that music video more times than you'll listen to this one. It's actually fire. Like, it's actually standalone fire. I'm so proud of it. I'm passionate about what I do. I love this. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me among the many people that do not support me for reasons that I cannot tell you. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed to counter the mobs of hate. Share it around. I think that this is extremely important, not only for society as a whole to see, but we need more people on our side, goddammit. Share the video around with your friends. Leave a like to help the algorithm support it, because they said words like politics and pedophiles and fascism, body shaming, and all these other things that YouTube likes to demonetize. So please go ahead and leave a like on the video and comment to help the algorithm push it forward a little bit. I very much appreciate it. I hope you enjoy these more super in-depth documentary style videos. I really like making them, and I feel like I'm actually adding something to the YouTube sphere that did not exist before. I'm really glad that I'm able to take my time and do this, and the reason why I am able to take my time to do this on my main channel is because of Nuxanor, my second channel that I just started and I'm super excited about because I am trying to upload very frequently there, mostly on the meme side of the force. The videos are so far hilarious, fully edited just like the main channel videos. I am giving that channel as much love as this one, but the super big projects are here. here, and the more having fun shenanigans memeing around is over there. Link in the description. Definitely check it out. I very much appreciate all of your support on all of my various shenanigans that I like to pull. Honestly, you guys are the best toxic fandom of all time. Definitely a living, breathing S-tier controversy if I've ever seen one. Thank you all. I very much appreciate it. Have yourselves the most wonderful evening. You're not the center of the universe. And remember to stay weird, fam.